The abandoned era. These photographs are not a location of a horror film set. This was a hospital for a decade. In this 20 years of time span, many said nature destroyed this place. But the truth is nature was preserving this historic place because nature knew the value of this building and this city, Kolar Gold Fields. In the 1980s, mining activities started to slow down and most British families which had settled down in the town evacuated and the hospital operation began to wane. Bgml began to face losses and all efforts to restart the mines didn't work out. Finally, the Union government decided to close the mines by 1st March 2001. The Bgml hospital also closed completely. The hospital health benefits and allowances for the workers had been stopped. This incident started the fall of this historic building. In this abandoned era, most expensive equipment was stolen. The hospital wards, named after the British bosses, which had a remarkable glory in the history of this country, were completely ruined and the hospital was turned into a haunted place. It was so sad to see a historic hospital in this condition. Once it was the best hospital in Kolar district and saved the lives of hundreds of people. In this era, hospital was gradually decaying in front of our eyes. The golden era. To understand the historic value of Bgml hospital, it is very important to understand the history of the city, Kolar Gold Field, where this hospital was established. The Western Gandas founded Kolar Gold Fields in the 2nd century CE. Kolar came under Chola rule in 1004. Around 1117, the Hoslas, under Vishnuvardhana, captured Talkadu and Kolar. Around the 13th century, the sage Pavananthi Munivar wrote Nannul about Tamil grammar at the Ulgamdhi cave in KGF. Later, Kolar was ruled by many kings and dynasties. During British rule in 1799, Lavelle had developed an interest in gold mining during his time at war in New Zealand. Warren, who was then serving in His Majesty's 33rd Regiment, Warren had heard rumors of gold reserves and fables of people digging gold with their bare hands in KGF during the time of the Chola dynasty. After Tipu Sultan was killed in the Battle of Srirangpatna by the British decided to hand over Tipu's territories to the Mysore princely state. But Warren was summoned to Kolar to investigate the yellow metal. He was successful in finding large gold reserves in this city. Underground mining work was started at lightning speed. John Taylor III acquired a number of mines in KGF in 1880 and his firm operated them until 1956. During this time, the workers came from many nearby states to work in mining. There were many accidents and health issues of workers, slowing down the mining work. To benefit the workers, Bgml Hospital was established in 1880 by Dr. T.J. O'Donnell and his brother Dr. J.D. O'Donnell. Dr. T.J. O'Donnell served as Chief Medical Officer for more than 25 years. This hospital was an 800-bed British-era hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in Asia during the early 20th century. Bgml Hospital was the first to get electricity and X-ray units in Asia. This hospital has been serving miners and their families for over 120 years. Hospital was open for locals and patients in nearby cities and states. It had 4 wards with 200 beds each, and this hospital was recognized by Indian Medical Council as an occupational diseases hospital to treat diseases such as tuberculosis and silicosis. More than 12,000 people used to rely on Bgml Hospital. Once the mining started to see its fall, It affected the hospital very badly, and finally both hospital and mining in Kolar gold fields came to end. People of this city lost their jobs and their livelihood. But even then they are waiting till today to see this city get back its glory. Era of back to glory. Long wait of KGF citizens to see Bgml hospital in working condition came to life in 2021 through COVID pandemic. During the first wave, Kolar DC guided district health officers to check the possibility for renovation of Bgml hospital because it needs a major operation to utilize the hospital for pandemic. But the brutality of second wave forced authorities to restart the historic hospital. S. Muniswamy, Kolar MP, writes to Union Mines Minister Prahlad Joshi to renovate and use Bgml hospital for the pandemic. As expected, the haunted place started to get back to its glory with the hard work of volunteers from the RSS, BJP, localities, and other organizations. On day one of the renovation, they witnessed conditions where no hope was seen to clean the premise and hospital. Bats were flying all over the place, 3 to 4 inches of mud covered the floor, along with cobwebs. But volunteers did not give up. They decided to clean whatever the challenges ahead, removed 400 tractor loads of garbage, and cleaned 5 acres of campus in 15 days. But the surprising moment is that, even after 20 years of unserved, unnoticed, and abandoned, the hospital was very strong, and the 140 years old iron cots were in usable condition. All required infrastructure was placed perfectly, and decided to convert 4 rooms into ICU facilities. With 200 plus patients can be treated with specialized doctors and nurses. Now the haunted building, from past 20 years, stands tall to serve COVID-affected patients in the district and becomes the biggest COVID care center in the complete district. Everything started from the vision of S. Muniswamy, Kolar MP, to see Bgml hospital in working condition. Citizens of Kolar Gold Fields feel happy to see the historic Bgml hospital back to its glory and in working condition. All they want from Central is to take control of this facility and convert it into a government hospital to serve everyone forever and not to stop functioning after COVID pandemic.